Well, it's the 30th day of December, 2024. Tomorrow is the last day of the year. And so I wanted to go around and get some reference photos for my last painting in my new journal for 2024. And I purposely came out in the evening so the sun would be low. Let me turn it around and let's look for some shots that might make for some good photos. By the way, I'm behind a grocery store, shopping center complex, and there's traffic over there. So let me turn this around and show you the setting sun. Over here, this is kind of a nice look here, I think, because I like the way the sun is coming through the tree. If I just go slowly, we have a nice sunset right over there coming across those trees and coming through the Spanish moss. I kind of like the way that looks, but I want to take a walk and see what else I can find around here. So let's just take a walk together and see what I can find. The cars are not doing it, it's the drivers that are doing it, right? The drivers are impatient. So I'm going to walk over here. There's a little walkway over here that is actually a golf cart path, I guess you would call it. Golf cart trail, maybe. Yeah, a lot of golf carts use it. Golf cart drivers use their golf carts. So I'm just going to take a little walk as the sun is setting and the light presents, the sunlight presents a end of the day look, and I want to do that for my end of the year picture, the end of the day look. Let me turn around and see how that same scene looks from this angle. I don't want to fall. Yeah, that looks alright. How does it look over here? Yeah. It's kind of a manicured look, but it looks nice. Alright, let me keep walking and talking. So I had an offer from an easel company. They wanted me to try out their easel and show it to all of you, so I'm looking forward to that. I've turned down most of the offers that I've gotten, but this one seemed interesting to me, so I'm going to do this one. All right, here we are. This is the golf cart trail. Doesn't look like much really, but let's see what we can find. You know, sometimes you go looking for a reference photo and it's the last thing you think will work that actually does work. You know, you think you're looking at something that would make a good painting, it turns out something else does a better job. So, like looking into these bushes, into the woods here, right? Or looking back at the street. Yeah. I don't see any golf carts out here right now, but we probably will. Just take a short walk. I might have waited too long. I probably should have come out earlier. Let's see what it looks like on the other side of this curve here. And you can always add your own dappled light. Look at this. Whoa. Let's see. Huh. Let's see what we come upon. A lot of this is manicured because this is a senior living, what do you call it? Assisted living facility, I think. I think that's what this is considered here. Ooh, let's see how this looks over here. Oh, this might be nice. Oh, look at that big old oak tree right there. Yeah, that might be nice. Let's see, get it from a different angle. Oh yeah, that might work nice. Look at the sun. Look at the sun coming through right there. We get a different angle. By the way, if you've never heard me say this before, please feel free to use any of these shots for reference photos of your own. Let's see this one. What do you think? I don't know. I'm not so sure if I like any of these. I won't really know until I look at it on the big computer. Right now I'm looking at it on a very small screen on my camera. So. What if I get down low to some of this, like this close grass here? That might be nice too. See some of that grass close? That might be nice, I don't know. Like I say, I won't know till I look at it. Oh, wait a minute. Look at the sun setting over there. The end of the year. The last day of 2024. How does that look? Let me get behind the grass. What is this grass called? It's got a name. Seagrass or something? Sea oats? I don't know what that's called. What do you think? Anybody who's watching me is wondering what I'm doing. Bending over by the grass. That is kind of pretty though. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to get any other really great angles. Give it another 20 minutes, a half hour, it'll be dark out here. So, I think I waited too long to come out here. Oh well. I think I got some shots. We'll see. In the morning I'll look at the video and kind of make a decision about whether I want to use any of these shots or not. But I'll still share them with you guys. You might have some ideas that I don't see. Maybe you see something I don't see. Oh, I do see a golf cart though. I bet he's coming this way. I would think so, because this is the golf cart path. Oh no, he's not. He's not coming this way. He's going across the street. Yeah, Robin is still not 100%. She's getting better though. So thank you for all your well wishes, by the way. Yeah, this is a nice walk, actually. Sometimes in the summer, this is a very hot walk. Yeah, this can be really scorching because there's really no shade. Right now, it's all it is shade, because it's evening and because it's kind of overcast. Just watch the traffic. We'll just watch the cars. Sometimes it's just fun to watch cars, right? Everybody's going someplace. They're all finding whatever they need to find for dinner, for their New Year's parties. I'm still hoping I get a good shot that'll work out as a reference photo. Alright, well, almost back to my car. But it is still pretty over there though, that's sunset. It's not the best sunset I've ever taken a picture of, but but it's okay. It's a little slanted here. I'm walking on a hill. But that looks dangerous right there. Look at that hole in that piece of concrete. You could trip on that for sure. That's why I didn't want to walk here at dark, because I wouldn't have seen that. What do you think of that, huh? It's not bad. I'm right next to traffic too. People coming into the shopping center. All right. Well, I'm very close to my car now. So, all right, let me turn it around. Hey, there I am. All right. All right. Well, thanks for taking the walk with me. Let's turn this off and get to the next part, where I open up my journal, my art journal, to page 17, I think is what I'm up to. and I'll do the last painting of 2024. All right, thanks for being with me. I'll be right back. Don't go away. Okay, well, I settled on a reference photo. I had a hard time with that walk. Not the walk itself, but I mean the decision about what to use for the walk. So I chose this one right here. That's the reference photo I chose to use. Now you see that little glare in the middle of the picture, like towards the bottom third in the middle? It's red. Well, that's just the glare. I'm not going to use that, obviously. But I'm going to use the photo as a reference photo, and I'll eliminate the parking lot so you don't see the parking lot. Make it look more like a field someplace that's more, maybe more romantic. This is actually, I think I said this in the video, but it's actually a retention area for when it rains. So let's just go ahead and put some of that yellow in there and get started with the obvious spot, the white spot in the middle. The glow of the sun. It probably doesn't even need to be painted in. Probably would be fine just to leave it white, but I'm going to, you know what, in a way, I put the blue sky in there and the yellow sun in there just as a way to maybe exaggerate what later on will be on here, because this is a very thin wash. I don't even know how much of it is visible on the camera. But it does two things. It gives me kind of a starting point. And it also wets the paper. It's funny, the paper behaves better once it's been wet and then has dried. Isn't that crazy? I don't know that it's always true, but it's true with this paper. And as I've said before, this isn't really like the best paper for painting on. And thank you for sending me a proper journal. I actually have another watercolor journal also. I haven't used yet, a square one. Anyway, so I'm just going to rub this in. I want to make sure that bright sun is right there though, just coming through. And it's the end of the year. Today is December 31st, 2024. You know, in 2025, had my mother lived, she would have turned 100 years old. So would my father. Yeah, they both would have been 100 years old this year. He's been gone since 2008, and she's been gone since 2012. So she was a widow for 4 years. And I was the widow's son. I was one of them. I was one of them, but I was the only one here locally. I used to take her to church every Sunday. And she said something to me one time that made me feel good, but also made me feel bad. Not that she intended to make me feel bad. But what she said was, I never thought you'd be bringing me this long. Because I started bringing her to church. And see, my dad and her used to go to church all the time. My dad, the year he got sick, it was 2008. It was Father's Day. That's when he first went into the hospital. And so, that pretty much that whole year, there was no church going. They were at home all the time. She was at home taking care of him. And then he was in hospice at home, hospice in the hospital. Yeah, it was a rough year for everybody. And so that year they really didn't get to church. I think the pastor from the church came into the hospital room several times. Anyway, where was I going with that? I distracted myself, I think. So after he passed in December of 2008, I guess after everything was settled and all that, I began to take my mother to church. Now, just for the purposes of understanding this story, I won't dwell on this too long, because I want to talk about resolutions a little bit, but and some ideas I have for this channel. But let me finish with this, if you don't mind. If you don't mind. So I started taking her to church toward the end of 2008, and the time I'm referring to when she said she never expected me to be taking her to church this long, I had been taking her to church every single Sunday once I started. And I'm kind of that way, you know. And maybe she forgot from when I was a kid, but I've always been that way. I've always been the all or nothing guy. I've always been the guy who said, no, I gotta do it all. Gotta do everything. Gotta do everything. Anyway, I took her to church for the 4 years, and then she passed. She passed in, I think it was November of 2012. Pretty sure. Alright, that's enough of that. Let me tell you about my resolutions. I'm not talking about like weight loss and that kind of thing. I'm talking about for art and for this channel. I think what I want to do, because I've had so many questions about the materials I use. I have so many questions about the brushes, and so many questions about the paper, and so many questions about the framing and the selling. I get a lot of questions about how do you sell them. And to be fair, I think you would be better off if you have questions about selling. I think somebody with those questions would be better off going to a channel where people actually talk about selling their art. I say that because even though I do sell my art, I'm not the expert on how to sell it. I think the way I sell art is simply by making it known that I do it. And I make it known that I do it because I participate in things, if that makes sense. It's not all social media, it's not all like newfangled stuff. A lot of it's just the old-fashioned, I give it away, I show it at the church, I bring it in, I give, like this past year, I gave 200 cards to the art auction so they could raise money for the kids going to some kind of an outing in New Orleans. And by doing that, people realize that I have art. And inevitably somebody will say, well, do you sell your art? And I will say, well, yes, I do. Yes and no. I'm always kind of shy about it. But they'll say, well, how do you buy your art? So then, of course, I give them my website, which is basically just my name.com. Okay, not Poppa. I should make a Poppa Paints website. I got enough things to have to worry about that come out of my account. If I do a Poppa Paints, that's gonna be another thing. But anyway, so I give them my name.com. In fact, a lot of them don't even know I do Poppa Paints. It's funny, every once in a while somebody will discover it. And they'll say, hey, are you Poppa Paints? And I'll say, yeah, I am. I do Poppa Paints. So, that's funny, right? All right. So I get a lot of questions about selling it. And usually what they do is they go to my website and they notice that I have prints for sale. And they'll buy a print, and then they'll come to me and they'll ask me if I'll sign it. And or if I can paint one similar, which I don't like to do really. I don't like to paint the similar. I don't like the request. Can you paint another one like that? I had that this past Christmas with the ballerina snow globes. Everybody liked the ballerina snow globes, so I did a couple of them extra. Yeah, I know. Are you that way too? You probably get the same type of requests. But anyway, so I think one of the things I'll do this year is I will talk more about on this channel how I sell the art, especially the prints. Now the originals, I guess I can talk about that right now. The originals, how I sell the originals is same way. I put them on the website, and I don't know if you've ever gone to my website or to any Fine Art America or any of them. A lot of people use, what's that one that people are using now, Square something? And then people use Etsy, and I've used Etsy too. I have not had good luck selling art on Etsy, except for like digital files. Like people like to print their own stuff sometimes. So sometimes I do sell some digital files, and then I don't really know what happens after that. I don't know if it's possible somebody's ripping me off, but I'm not worried about it. I guess if I see something I did in the Louvre, I'll worry about it. In the Museum of Modern Art. Hey, that's my art. Anyway, I guess I haven't worried about it. But the other thing I want to do, this is kind of exciting for me because I get requests every now and then from a manufacturer to demonstrate their product, and I've had requests for like spray. What do you call that stuff? Like fixative. And I don't really use fixative. I have used fixative on my pastels, but I honestly don't use it. So I felt bad saying yes to that one, so I didn't say yes. A little bit of green in there, I guess. That's a little bit too green, isn't it? Let me bring it down. But I had one the other day, and I mentioned this when I was walking. I had one the other day for an easel, a company that makes easels. They contacted me and they asked me if I would demonstrate their easel. And it looks interesting, and the reason it looks interesting to me is because the walks that I'm doing lately. Let me get some paint out of the tube. This reactivating the paint is not quite working for me. So anyway, they have an easel that they want me to demonstrate, and I watched a couple of videos, and I thought, yeah, okay, I can do that. Well, one of the reasons I kind of like the idea is because I've enjoyed going out into the real world with the camera, looking for reference photos. I've enjoyed this whole process of doing that, and by enjoying that, I thought, well, as long as I'm out there, why don't I just do some plein air painting, you know? And so that would be kind of a cool new thing, I guess, for me. And I did plein air painting when I was younger. Robert and I went out, and when I say younger, I mean a long time ago. 2011 is what the date is on most of those paintings. So 2010, 2011, 2012, but most of them were 2011. So, yeah, we went out painting a lot back in those days. And we did it for a specific purpose. We were raising money for the Literacy Council. It seems like the art does really well as a fundraiser. I know some of you have written to me and kind of chastised me for not selling art to benefit myself financially. And yep, you're right. I should. But I do a little bit, you know. I mean, it pays. I don't want to say it pays a lot, but that's why I say you should maybe go to somebody else. I may not be the best person to go to when it comes to how to make money with art. However, I do make money with art, at least. Probably not the amount that you hope. Boy, I can't find it. There it is. I was looking for a burnt umber. I couldn't find a burnt umber. Yeah, sometimes straight out of the tube is better, especially with gouache. So, all right. What I want to do now is a washed out something. How about do a little bit more of the reactivated? Get some darker tones back here. A few places. I guess I can put it over here too. Get some of this stuff in here. This is, I'm using it like watercolor. I want to make sure that that light right there stays there. Yeah, this is okay. This is working. Makes a little bit of green, a little bit of blue. Make it very washed out. Let me think here now. This is going to be the tree here. Okay. This is something I get questions about too. My dabbing technique. I don't know the answer to the question. How did I start doing this? That's a question I don't know the answer to. Okay, I'm going to put that tree right there, I think. I'll put it right there. And just have it kind of making its way around. Because then you got all these other trees here in the foreground. Just all over the place. These foreground trees. Okay. I do like doing landscapes. I do. There's so much freedom in a landscape you can do. There's also the Spanish moss on this tree. Don't want to forget that. All this becomes foreground stuff. A little bit in the background here. I've enjoyed using the dry brush so much in so many pieces of work I've done that when I use it, sometimes I forget to mention that I'm using a dry brush. So what is a dry brush? That's a question I get to. What do you mean when you say dry brush? Well, right now, if you can see how the paint is not really that fluid, it's kind of dry. That's all I mean. There's no big mystery here as to what a dry brush is. It is exactly as it says it is. It's not completely dry, obviously, otherwise there'd be no paint on the paper. But it's dry. Okay. I'm taking some liberties here with this picture, with this reference photo. And then over here, a little bit of a divot there. Yeah, tonight's New Year's Eve. I suppose I will try to stay up with Robin until midnight. Not easy for us. We're not going out anywhere. Alright, now what I want to do is I want to get some of the same tone that I've been using and add some yellow to it. And bring it around here. Get that yellow into these branches here. And get everything kind of a little bit yellow. Go ahead and add some over here too. And of course over here. Okay, now I just wet the brush, so now it's no longer a dry brush. Now it's a wet brush. As simple as that. Simple as that. How about that? The funny thing is, when you use a dry brush with digital art, of course it's always dry. It's never going to be wet. But you can make it look wet. So that's why, I think maybe that's where the confusion comes from, because in digital art, you have a brush called the dry brush, because a lot of artists like to use a dry brush in real art, in traditional art. So to get that look of a dry brush, you have to have a digital a replication, I guess you would say, I don't know, something that looks like an actual dry brush. Let me add some of the definition pieces, the pieces that will define the trees. I got my paint covering my brushes. I can't see my brushes. Oh gosh. Let's see, which one do I want to use? I never know until I get there. Alright, I'm going to put that in there. Keep it wet. Alright, now let me lighten some of this here. Make this more defined. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit of white and I'm adding it to that Payne's gray, just so it's not completely stark. There's a little bit of, I want this one branch coming out here. Keep it a little darker there. All right, now. Put that one right there. Okay, let's do another one. There's a bunch of these trees here. They reach all the way to the top in some cases. Just keep working it, I guess. Just keep working it until it looks the way you want it to look. Just little tiny branches, little leaves. This year, that's ending, I went to the gravesite of Bob Ross. Robin and I both went. of course. And there's a video on my channel that shows that visit. And what happened for me that day, because of that visit, was Bob Ross became, I know this sounds weird, became a real person to me. He became real. Not that he wasn't real before, I knew he was real. But there was something bigger than life, I guess, about him because of his notoriety. Everybody knew his name. Everybody knew his image. Everybody knew about him and what he did. And when we went to his gravesite, and I stood there, and I know this is weird, but I talked to him, you know, one-sided, of course. Bob Robert and I both did. We thanked him. We thanked him for so much, for so much inspiration. But the thing I really want to say is that after we had visited Bob Ross's gravesite, we felt like we had met him. Not just met him, not like you meet a celebrity and get their autograph and shake their hand, but rather like we got to know him a little bit, like we spent more than just 5-10 minutes with him. We actually spent a few weeks with him. Isn't that weird? Like we really got to know the guy. And I know that's not true. I really don't know him. But it felt like it. It changed how I feel about him. I've always admired him. I've always respected him. I've always thought that his work that he did on TV was probably nothing compared to what he did when he wasn't confined to that 27 minutes or whatever it is on TV. You know, I always felt like he was a great artist that really wasn't recognized as great. He was a great teacher, and he was a great demonstrator. And his art was also great. If you look at some of the work he did, that was not part of that show. And that's what I said to him, that I've seen his work. I know it's crazy because he wasn't there. But, well, he was. I don't know. What do you know? I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. But anyway, yeah, this year I did go to Bob Ross's grave, and I did speak to him, and he did not speak back to me. But I did feel like I met with him, and it was really a wonderful thing. And now I feel like even though I've never met him, I feel like I may have. I don't know James Gurney either, and James Gurney is still alive. I would love to meet James Gurney. I don't know why. Maybe for the same reason. Maybe just to feel that I know the person. Thomas Kincaid was one of James Gurney's friends. I've never met Thomas Kincaid. I've often thought, though, that Thomas Kincaid got a bad rep. A lot of people didn't consider him an artist. It's like, what the heck? Well, what? You didn't consider him an artist? Well, but yeah, you consider some of the other stuff art. And there's some stuff that, to me, there's other art out there that's just not as good. He was great, though. They can say what they want to say, but he was great. And James Gurney is great. He's, by the way, if somehow you never heard of James Gurney, and you are on YouTube right now, looking at my art because you want to learn how to do whatever I do, may I suggest you find James Gurney. He will teach you so much with his videos. I would say way more than I'm teaching you, because he actually knows what he's doing. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth, Lucy. I'm telling you the truth. What am I trying to imitate? Oh, Ricky Ricardo. Does he say that? I tell you the truth, Lucy. All right, let me get some more leaves in here. So this isn't coming out exactly as I had pictured it, but it's coming out. I'm kind of liking the way that yellow does work there, though. How that yellow just kind of does its thing. And I kind of like how these watercolor-ish areas look faded and I don't know if that makes sense or not. Try to make a little bit of a hint of some Spanish moss. The light shining through the Spanish moss was part of what I liked about this scene, but I don't think I'm doing a very good job of replicating it. I'm going to come back to it though with some, see if I can do something with that. I guess I'm almost there. So I guess my resolutions for this year coming up is to do more supply reviews or just testing out some supplies. People send me supplies. I might as well try them out and kind of review them. I'm not a good reviewer though. I'm going to like everything. It's kind of like airplane food. Nobody likes airplane food but me. I'm easy to please. I'm easy to please. Maybe there's a little bit of hint of some rust colored in there too. I get some more yellow in the grass. Kind of the limited palette thing of the tonal approach, you know, use more tone than you do color. I guess you've heard that before too, right? Just use tone. Yeah, I think I'm done. You know what I'm going to try though? I'm going to try and add a little bit of a hint of some of this yellow here. Maybe even some white. Just a little hint where it's kind of, oops, that's way too much. It's a little bit grasping onto the edge of this tree and to that Spanish moss a little bit. I'd have to go back on that. I guess that works. Okay. That's really all you have to ask yourself. Does it work? A little bit here is a little bit too much white. Does it work? If your answer is yes, then I guess you're done. Happy New Year. Let me put a little hint of grass here. Just hints of grass. Yeah, I guess that's good enough. Well, there we have our sunset from yesterday's walk. It came out alright. Not too bad. I think I'm done. So everybody have a happy New Year. I'll see you in 2025. Thank you for watching. Bye.